Tonight on Most Shocking, a pistol-packing night manager opens fire on a gang of crooks. Plus, a jewel thief makes off with $100K in less than 60 seconds. Then, a family store is held at gunpoint by a band of murderous thugs. And when a bar bandit is gunned down, vengeful patrons pelt him with beer bottles. Later, brazen criminals blast through a convenience store, then break the bank. But first, a gutless hoodlum sucker punches an offenseless woman. This is not a movie. Everything you're about to see is real. Brace yourself. This is Most Shocking, Robberies and Holdups.
Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Pastor John Wayne Manning's market is just getting on its feet.
I invested everything I had, everything. Time, money, mortgaged my home, everything I had.
He prepares to close for the night,
Front door.
while his wife Elizabeth runs the till. Young Justin Caldwell waits in line. He's in the wrong place at the wrong time. Before Elizabeth knows what's happening, she's a trigger pull away from death. The turncoat customer grabs Justin by the hair and pins him to the floor. A second gunner levels an AK-47 at the mother of three. In the back, a third man has Pastor Manning dead to rights. Worse, his baby daughter is with him.
Came run over my daughter, he'd kick her out the way. She's 10 months old. And by the time I looked down to my child, there was a gun in my chest, a handgun.
Elizabeth finally gets the drawer out and hands it over. There's no telling what this trio might do next. They drag Justin back to the office. Pastor Manning watches helplessly on the security monitors.
There's nothing I could do. Like the world was falling down on me. I put my trust in God.
Moments later, the bandits run out of the store as customers emerge from hiding. Miraculously, they don't harm a single soul.
And the only thing I could hear is my husband always coaching me, telling me, if anybody comes in here and holds us up, you give them the money.
The robbery was planned down to the smallest detail. One man distracts Elizabeth by pretending to look for change.
I just kind of realized that he was really digging into his pocket.
The ploy works. Justin is terrified.
And I thought they was gonna shoot me. I was just scared.
He doesn't know where they might be taking him.
I was just on the floor praying to God, please let us live, please let us live.
God that just saved us all.
But with the suspect still at large, Pastor Manning has one more call for divine intervention.
I'm praying that the detective department, they will have enough courage to find those bastards and put them away for a long time.
New Orleans, Louisiana. The owners of a local tavern have been trying to get back on their feet after Hurricane Katrina.
Just average citizens who are working to rebuild what little they have left.
But in this troubled area, others have taken a more nefarious approach. Two masked robbers raid the bar, unaware of security guard Brian Gray in the back.
Both of them had weapons. We didn't know if they were real, fake, or whatever.
As one menaces the patrons at the bar, another in a hooded sweatshirt grabs a customer and pulls him toward the register at gunpoint. Then he goes after a female bartender.
He was threatening her, he was grabbing her, he was pulling her by the hair.
Gray stands just off camera on the lower right. He takes aim at the thief holding the woman and fires.
I had a clear shot, and I took the clear shot.
The gunman collapses, and his buddy makes a terrified beeline for the exit. Gray steps in and examines the man's gun. His instincts were correct.
He actually did have a loaded 9mm, and it was cocked at the ready.
An ex-Marine and veteran of 2 wars, Gray's shot is both daring and incredibly accurate. He fires just past the shoulder of a stunned patron, then narrowly avoids hitting the hostage, who's held closely against the suspect. But now, it's the citizens who are armed. And these hard-working individuals are incensed at this thug's audacious act.
He kept trying to get up. He would get up to one knee, but the patrons were throwing everything but the kitchen sink at him.
The barrage of bottles and mugs takes its toll. But the real damage has already been done.
Shot that I fired hit him in the upper torso, hit an artery, and he bled to death. When we got home, yeah, I cried. I'll be honest, I cried. I felt bad. It was another young black male who could easily be working instead of out here doing this kind of crap.
It's an outcome that Brian would have liked to avoid. But when this crook threatened a woman's life, the sharpshooting guard was left with no choice. Seattle, Washington, home of the drive-up coffee stand. The gourmet latte shop gets by easily with just 2 employees. But it's a slow night, and Sarah Barnfather offers a coworker a break.
I asked the other girl if, she needed to go do anything or go anywhere because she was going to be there for 2 hours by herself.
The other girl's brief departure is a moment this scheming hoodlum has been waiting for.
Oh my God. All of a sudden, there's a man at the window tapping on it with a gun. Oh my God.
Sarah quickly complies.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Quick.
He's threatening my life and screaming at me.
You have 2 seconds. Give me away.
Sarah does her best to accommodate the agitated perp.
Everything. Do you want the change also? I want money.
I'm, frantically, do you want the change? Do you want the change?
I want the money underneath, too.
There's no money. Do you want the change? He's just standing there staring at me, and I didn't know if he was going to shoot me or try to get in the stand and do something.
Spooked by an approaching car, the thief takes off. Sarah locks the window behind him.
I was hysterical. I couldn't breathe. I was shaking violently and crying.
I've just been robbed. Listen a second. I work in the gourmet latte on Railroad Road.
When they arrive, officers note a deadly detail from the security tape. The suspect was prepared to take this act all the way.
You have 2 seconds. Blow me away. Everything.
He took the safety off of his gun when I had my back turned, so he was serious.
The robber nets less than $200 for a crime that could cost him years behind bars. The irony is not lost on Sarah.
I'm just angry that he would do this. Get a real job. Be a man, It's not that hard.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Quick.
Okay. Coming up, armed robbers threaten to make a teenager's first day on the job her last. Plus, vicious thugs lay siege to a late-night watering hole. And Money-hungry hoodlums jack ATMs in a four-wheel smash and grab. That's next on Most Shocking Robberies and Holdups.
Hollywood, Florida. It's just after noon at this fast food restaurant, the height of the lunch hour. It's also a day this young cashier will never forget. A masked gunman suddenly storms the counter. The terrified crowd scatters quickly. The robber threatens to shoot the girl if she doesn't empty the cash drawer. But there's a problem. It's the cashier's very first day on the job.
Suffice to say that she was nervous, probably petrified, and panicked a little bit. And she was unable to open up the cashier's box. She forgot the code that would allow her to open up.
The infuriated crook pulls the trigger.
The good news is that it either malfunctioned or there was no bullets in it to begin with, because it did not discharge. Had it discharged, suffice to say, she would have had some serious injuries.
Traumatized, the cashier fumbles with the register. But it turns out the thief has an accomplice. And he doesn't want to stick around.
They robbed two individuals, women who had their purses and that were seated inside the restaurant. Moments later, both of them flee the store.
The shaken cashier rushes to the safety of a back room. She's uninjured. But Captain Tony Rode knows the outcome could have been much different.
It very easily could have been a homicide. You're looking at the middle of lunchtime. It was 12:30 in the afternoon on a busy day on a busy street.
It will be a long time before this cashier forgets how her first day of work almost became her last day on Earth. Convenience stores are a classic late-night target for criminals looking to cash in. In Minneapolis, Minnesota, a truck full of bandits blasts through the front door. It takes 2 hits before they can break the bank. Then, it's a frenzied free-for-all. The petty thieves make off with handfuls of cigars and phone cards. In Adelaide, Australia, a gang of ram raiders crash their way in. The smash and grabbers go for the cigarette machine. But the 200-pound prize is a heavy haul, forcing the offenders to drag away their smoky stash. In Krugerville, Texas, desperados used bolt cutters to bust inside. One lawbreaker lassos the ATM with a steel chain. The other end is attached to a stolen truck. The felons speed off, ripping the cash machine right out the door. All of these marauders may have cashed in, but their crimes were caught on tape. Police catch 2 of the gangs, and they're hot on the tail of the 3rd. In Cincinnati, Ohio, a cowardly attack takes place. This thief doesn't just hit a woman, he sucker punches her. When the clerk tries to get up, the callous attacker pushes her down again, yelling at her to stay on the floor. He hasn't realized yet that he can't open the register without her. Finally, he orders his victim to get the cash. But then he's startled by a customer entering. The woman tries to stall, hoping the shopper will deter the robber. But the customer is as clueless as the crook. The gentleman calmly sets his purchases on the counter, never wondering why a man is grabbing cash while the worker holds her bleeding, broken nose. The outlaw has what he wants and heads off. The wounded woman quickly calls police. It turns out this suspect only gets away with $105. A pathetic reward for someone facing a serious charge of felony robbery. In addition, this malicious assault of a helpless woman won't win him any leniency when he's brought before the judge. Gresham, Oregon. For locals, the Waterhole 2 is a great place to relax and knock back a cold one. Tonight, it's about to get knocked off by a couple of cold ones. Two ruthless robbers raid the tavern. Bartender Chrissy Horn turns to find a gun in her face.
I just kept thinking, this isn't happening. This isn't happening. This can't be happening. He's going to shoot me in the face. And I thought of my son, and I thought of all the people that I love, and I just kept thinking, please, God, don't let him shoot me.
As one masked bandit yells at the crowd to look away, the other orders Chrissy to the register,
come on,
where her fear threatens to be her undoing.
As God is my witness, I forgot how to open the door. Just for a few seconds, I was so terrified, I thought, I'm going to get killed because I can't remember how to open the till up.
Fortunately, she comes through before the crazed man erupts.
His hand was shaking so bad that I thought he's going to accidentally shoot me, even though I'm doing everything he tells me to.
Suddenly, the jittery suspect turns angry.
He kept screaming at me, "Where's the rest of it?" And I kept saying, "That's it, that's all there is." But he didn't believe me.
Finally, the man is convinced. He and his buddy bolt for the exit, disappearing into the night. As soon as the coast is clear, Chrissy heads for the phone.
I ran as fast as I could into the kitchen and called 911.
A customer bars the doors with a stool until police arrive. Chrissy has a theory as to why the duo was so brazen.
The way that they were shaking and yelling, it seemed to me like they were on something or that they were tweaking for something.
If true, it's a good thing that no one tried playing the hero.
Thankfully, all the regulars were very cool and did not try and interfere. No amount of money was worth anybody's life.
Facing the homicidal rage of strung-out thieves, this was clearly a time for victims to cut their losses and stay alive.
come on.
Up next, a manager is held at gunpoint while a team of professional bandits stick up a crowded restaurant.
Stay down!
Plus, drug-crazed outlaws go ballistic when their holdup goes bust. And a crafty crook hits a jewelry store in a daring heist. When most shocking, Robberies and Holdups returns.
Cottage Grove, Minnesota. Chad and Christine Selvig have realized a lifelong dream by opening their own jewelry store.
It took us almost 4 years to get what we had.
All those years of hard work are about to be undone in less than a minute. A late-night burglar jimmies the front door and dashes in. Seconds later, he's got his hands on the goods.
He went immediately to the high-end items of the store.
The swift-handed thief clears out a fortune in diamond rings. With the alarm triggered, he knows he has to work fast. A swipe of his crowbar opens the next case.
He went to the most expensive, then the next most, and then the third most expensive, in case he was interrupted and he had to leave before he could complete the burglary.
In less time than it takes to make a cup of coffee, he's out the door with $100,000 worth of jewelry.
He was in and out of here in exactly 55 seconds.
The precision of the theft leaves no doubt the man was here before.
To know that this person was in our store, who do you trust now?
Despite his hasty burglary, authorities are on his trail.
We have suspects in this case, and we're working that at this time.
The high-speed heist teaches the Selvigs an expensive lesson.
If it's valuable and you don't want to lose it, lock it up.
Pattaya, Thailand. A slow night at a neighborhood mini-mart. Without warning, a crazed junkie pulls a gun. His drug-addled wingman corners the cashier. 5 days into a mescaline and alcohol-fueled bender, these two are jonesing for cash. The gunman drags another woman out of hiding and slams her into the wall. While she empties a register, the dope fiend attacks her co-worker. She tells the robbers that she already called the police. One wants to flee. The other wants blood. He yanks the woman by her hair, backhands her, then puts the boot to her friend. When he gets the cash drawer open and finds out how little money there is, he explodes, beating both women mercilessly. He breaks one's nose with the butt of the gun, then throws her to the floor and stomps her head into the tile. His partner in crime begs the madman to leave her alone. With another kick to the head, the savage thug finally takes off. The stunned cashiers are thankful to be alive. Ironically, both criminals overdose and are found dead just 2 miles away. The very money they stole bought a fix that ended their addiction for good. Los Angeles, California. Mr. Cecil's Ribs is a popular eating joint along LA's famed Ventura Boulevard. But dinner is about to be interrupted by 3 party crashers.
I looked around and I saw 3 men with ski masks and guns in the restaurant.
Owner Jonathan Burrows is standing near the bar as the takeover happens.
It was very, very frightening. They did go up to the assistant manager and put a gun to his head. One of them immediately jumped over the bar counter, went to the cash register, and emptied it. The other two shouted out instructions such as, everybody take off your watches, your jewelry, take your money out of your pockets.
Terrified patrons comply, dropping to the floor and putting their valuables on the tables. The gang does quick work.
We followed the instructions, did what we were told. They were in and out in about 3 minutes. The minute they were gone, I picked up the phone and dialed 911.
Burroughs was just hit by the ski mask bandits, who have robbed at least 52 area eateries in a 2-year span. This job nets them less than $2,000.
To take out guns and to threaten people for the reward of less than $2,000 doesn't make much sense to me.
Burroughs has upgraded security to deter future attacks.
We now have 6 cameras operating throughout the restaurant. We have added panic buttons in various places. I definitely feel much more prepared.
Working on several leads, officers believe the gang will soon be picking up a hefty tab for their costly crimes.
Coming up, a store manager uses magnum force to repel a pair of thieves. Plus, a trucker falls prey to a homicidal mugger. And a vigilante customer takes on a gun-toting hoodlum. On Most Shocking, Robberies and Holdups.
Miami, Florida. Javier Garcia finishes a long night of work at this gas station. He goes through his regular routine, chatting with a customer as he checks tank levels. Without warning, an armed robber emerges from the darkness.
All of a sudden, I see a guy coming from behind the truck and telling us in English to give him everything we got. This is a robbery. Don't move.
Even with a .38 caliber aimed at their heads, Javier and the trucker make a run for it. The gunman opens fire. Javier escapes. His buddy isn't so lucky.
I never thought the truck driver had been shot. But he said, he shot me. I asked him where, and he said, he shot me at his leg. My hands were stained with blood when I touched his leg.
Both have better fortune than they imagine. The driver is merely grazed, and the gun jams after the first shot, prompting the shooter to flee the scene. Thanks to some fleet footwork and a faulty pistol, Javier makes it through the graveyard shift without ending up 6 feet under.
We always have to be careful. That's all we can do.
Stuart, Florida. A local convenience store is the target of a brazen robbery. A leapfrogging crook gets away with roughly $500. He's later caught, but not before telling a friend about the store's lax security. 3 months later, that friend is casing the store for himself. After a quick walkthrough, he gets in line and waits patiently. Behind the counter, Guillermina Sanchez rings up a customer. Now, it's the boy in blue's turn. He asks the clerk for a price check. When she turns to get it, he makes his move. Guillermina turns back to face a deadly 2-foot machete. But what the young thug doesn't know is that the store has made some changes since his friend's robbery. Guillermina refuses to open the cash drawer. The blade-wielding punk starts to come around the counter, and the cashier pulls a machete of her own. Now it's a standoff. The thief calls Guillermina's bluff and tries to open the register on his own. But when the store owner takes hold of the giant knife, the kid runs off. He gets away without a dime. But thanks to fingerprints in this surveillance video, he won't get far. Now it's only a matter of time before he joins his friend in jail. Because when this holdup became an arms race, the boy bandit came in last. Perth, Australia. A masked gunman charges inside a liquor store demanding cash. To his right is customer Joel Stead. Joel's just spent the last 12 hours playing a violent video game.
After such a long time of playing, they certainly may have been on edge and ready to tackle anything.
The gamer decides to turn fantasy into reality. He makes a grab for the gun and chases the crook out of the store. It's game over for this stick-up man. Though grateful, authorities caution against this sort of vigilante justice.
It could go from simply a loss of money on the premises to a death, and that risk just is not worth it.
Up next, a psychopathic crook goes for the jugular, terrorizing a helpless clerk. Plus, 2 night workers stare down the barrel of a greedy madman. And bloodthirsty felons invade a pancake house, turning a botched robbery into attempted murder. That's next on Most Shocking, Robberies and Holdups.
Humble, Texas. Store clerk Naveed Sheikh is working alone, and he's about to get an unwanted visitor. A hardened criminal carrying 6 inches of cold steel. Helpless, Naveed willingly hands over the cash.
They're gonna kill me. I'm sure they're gonna kill me if I don't give me the money. They have a very big knife, like more than 6 inches.
But the robber thinks the clerk is holding back and moves the blade up to Naveed's jugular.
My heart beating so fast, he just keep pressing for the knife. He just pressing the knife toward my neck.
The cutthroat makes one more check under the till and discovers some hidden bills. Naveed is ordered onto the floor. He takes a brutal kick to the chest. The attacker flees, but doesn't get far. He's captured a few days later and is currently awaiting trial. Naveed is shaken, but lucky to be alive.
This kind of job is a very dangerous job. You never know what is going to happen with you. Whatever they want, just give it because life is more than the money.
Pompano, Florida. Closing time at a local supermarket. last two workers head out the door. What they don't know is that tonight, the store will be open late. An armed perpetrator forces the pair back inside. He leads them to the office. The shotgun-wielding robber orders the terrified employees to clean out the safe. They comply, fearing these may be their final moments. But as soon as the villain gets his cash, he leaves. For the victims, the harrowing encounter is seared into their memories. Thanks to a sophisticated security system, the suspect's every move is captured on video. Officers are confident that the shotgun thief will soon be behind bars. Castleberry, Florida. A night out at the local diner turns deadly. Four men in ski masks burst into the restaurant holding a young hostage. Lieutenant Dennis Stewart has seen this kind of robbery before.
They used a coordinated assault. They spread through the restaurant working as a team. They came fully armed and prepared to use those armaments and did so. It would tend to indicate one of two things: quite a bit of advanced planning, or number two, they're experienced.
Some of the bandits loot the cash drawer, while the others use stun guns to shock the customers into submission.
Two of the suspects went and began approaching each individual customer, taking money, credit cards, those kind of things.
But then, one man decides to fight back. It was his daughter being held hostage. Michael Craig jumps out of the booth, ready to throw down. The hoods drop the father with a high-voltage jolt.
He was tased and went down to the floor. The grandfather stood up and got the high chair and began to move forward. All pandemonium broke loose.
Bravery runs in the Craig family. Michael's dad, Carl, plows into the thieves, swinging a high chair. But he's no match for a bullet.
At that moment, there was absolute terror in the restaurant. One of the attackers opened fire with a 9mm handgun. The bullet went through the wooden chair into the gentleman's chest and exited his body and was left on the floor of the restaurant.
Carl's infant great-granddaughter is only a few feet away. The gang grabs as much cash as they can and runs. Michael comes to and chases after them. But the men get away. When Michael re-enters the restaurant, he finds a chaotic scene.
The victims were profoundly impacted by this incident.
In all, 12 customers and employees are injured in the raid. A family member calls police. The bullet that stopped Carl Craig missed vital organs by centimeters.
The worst outcome in any robbery is for fatality to take place. To the good fortune that was avoided in this case.
The assailants are still at large. Now, in addition to their other crimes, all four face charges of attempted murder.
Coming up, a clerk packing heat puts a pair of crooks on ice. When most shocking, Robberies and Holdups returns.
Clinton Township, Ohio. It's a busy night at the Walford Market. A rash of robberies has the store under heavy surveillance. But they have another ace up their sleeve. Manager Clive Weidel is packing heat, and he's not afraid to use it.
It's like, gotta keep a gun in the store. You know what? I'm gonna keep it in my pocket. When you need a gun, you need to load it and you need it on you.
Business begins to slow. Weidel and a female clerk prepare to close. When suddenly, two gunmen burst in, but Weidel's a quick draw.
Their guns were already drawn when they came through the door and they were coming up quick. And I stepped back and went down and I came up shooting.
His first shot sends the parka-clad robbers running scared. But Weidel is right on their tail. He charges out the door, unloading 3 more rounds.
When you have a weapon put in your face, it's always a possibility, you can take a hit. I could be killed at their whim, you know what I'm saying? It's 9 o'clock at night. What if he just fires one bullet and it hits me fatally? I'm dead. You got to save yourself and try and protect who I got in the store. I guess God's looking out for me.
Moments earlier, the outlaws were caught on tape casing the market. They're captured just a few blocks away. Lucky for them, Weidel wasn't shooting to kill. But future criminals, beware.
I hope it doesn't happen again, but if it does, I'll be ready. Get the message out there. You know what? We're going to fight back.
The allure of quick cash can alter lives in the blink of an eye. Desperate crooks, fueled by unbridled greed, pose one of the greatest threats to law and order.